What's going on? I am doing Monster Bash this year. Monster Bash is something which, I've only been back into crafting and getting Warhammer figures for about a year or so this is fairly new to me. I found this watching one of my favorite channels, Niche Crafts. They were putting together something for what they called Monster Bash. And I did and it seemed cool. You draw 6 cards from this deck of all these different monster features, whether it's arms or legs or eyes or skin, whatever, all sorts of creepy things. You draw 6 of those and you put together a monster. And so I did a quick Google search and I found a website by another great craft channel, Conjured Craft, where you can draw your own cards. It has this very cool randomizer that you can pick your own 6 cards. I don't know who created Monster Bash from the videos I watched. A lot of people say it was miscast. So if whoever you are, you're amazing, and I can't wait to do it this year. So I got my randomizer and I started to pick the 6 cards, and this was the first one I came up with, which I was looking at sort of like is like a mouth within a mouth on his neck. It was almost, it's a very cool picture, very cool drawing. But the more I looked at it, the more I almost thought this looks a little like an apple, and which I thought, oh, maybe I could do like a cool reverse Garden of Eden thing where the apple eats the snake. But I should have just kept an open mind and waited till I got all 6 cards, but I didn't. Immediately, this was in my head. Oh, that's an apple. Do something with an apple. My next card was this, which, maybe it's not a tree. Definitely looks like a tree, but a lot of things in nature can look like a tree. I don't want to do a tree per se, just because earlier this year I made a tree man out of spruce just to see if I could do it. So I don't want to, but look, let's keep going. We'll draw some more cards. We'll see what we get. And then I got this, which is, that looks like a tree. Looks like a tree branch. Looks like a hand that looks like a tree branch. As long as the next one's not a tree, I should be good. You mother... All right. I guess bamboo's not technically a tree. Fine, I'm doing a tree. That's all there is to it. Whatever. Next card was an insect, a roach sort of thing, and then we got this snake texture. So this is the design I came up with. A sort of tree man thing. All right, here's my drawing that, yes, looks like it was done by a 5th grader, and I'm very proud of it. I'm going to put it on my refrigerator and give myself a smiley face. Well, anyway, so here it is. It's an anglerfish. I know anglerfish have been done in Warhammer, but I've never done one, and I want to do one, so I'm doing one. The apple, that's going to be his little bait there. I'm going to put little pinchers on the side of his mouth. That'll be the insect part. Obviously, the trees, and then the snake. I don't know. We'll see. I'll figure it out. And we're off. I am starting the sculpt in the usual way with aluminum foil and armature wire, or aluminium foil and armatorium wire. I assume it's, I don't know. So I'm basically getting the rough shape of what I want for my anglerfish. There I am putting the little giant mouth in that I want, and then putting the armature wire on. I think I glued the armature wire on because when I wrapped it around, it was sort of covering where I wanted the mouth to go. Oh, the glue's stuck in the bottle. Where's the needle? I got to insert the needle into the hole, which is, I'm not going to get banned from YouTube for that, right? It's not a sexual thing. I swear, just getting the glue out. So I decided to tack on the armature wire with glue, and then I would go back later and add air dry clay to sort of cement it in place. Which I did a tree earlier in the year, and I think I alluded to it at the beginning. I did this. I have a bunch of these like sprues from whenever you buy a Warhammer box set. They all come on sprues, and then you get all these giant things. So I wanted to build a tree out of sprues and milliput, basically. So this is kind of how I started that one, except I would just instead of aluminum foil, it was all sprues glued together. So I kind of knew what I was doing at this point, I think. I was going to have big armature wires for the branches. Then I would wrap a smaller armature wire around the branches to make smaller branches, and that's where I would glue on the foliage. And that's basically what I'm doing. I also am adding, glue's still stuck. All right, keep working at it. There you go. You got it. You can do this. Look at you. All right. So one of the cards was a beetle, so I decided to represent the beetle. I would add 6 limbs to it. Um, 2 front limbs, and then the 4 in the back. There would be 2 like human type arms and 2 human type legs, and the front 2 would just be basically these little like tree root hand things. That was the original plan. So here I am just putting in those 2 front feet, which would basically look like feet and look like tree roots. At least that's the plan. Spoiler alert, a lot of it changed. I did not do the hands. Am I making him walk there? Am I waddling him around like Penguin? All right, whatever. Like originally I thought like, all right, 2 human arms and one of the hands would have his fingers crossed, like he was trying to catch something in the trap, and he was hoping, so he had his fingers crossed, hoping the trap would work. And it looked good, yeah. Anyway, I changed it up, and I'll show you that where I changed that later. And the back was just gonna be 2. I think at first I was like doing like almost like dog legs, and then I decided I didn't like the way that looked, and I did these like backwards human legs. But you'll see all that later on. Here I am using air dry clay instead of super sculpey. I did buy a whole thing of super sculpey, but I figured since I really don't need any details on this, I don't even need any exact shapes. I can be all knobby and weird because it's a tree. So I'm using a bunch of super sculpey, or I'm sorry, air dry clay, just to get it in a position to where I can have everything set up, and then I can add more layers afterwards, and also bend the branches into shape. One of the things I was going to do, I feel like I'm talking very fast. This video is actually slowed down. I move much faster. This is me after, no, all right. So one of the things I was going to do, since he's going to have an apple on a branch, and that was going to be his lure, I was going to have an animal going after the apple. And I happen to have a bag full of toy cats. Yeah, of course I do. Why wouldn't I? When I'm playing in the Warhammer the Old World, I decided to make a demon army from scratch based on what if one of the demons was a cat lady. So I bought a bag of cats, and I was going to have a cat going after the apple, but I don't think cats eat apples. And also, let's be honest, like, you're all cat people. Like everyone into crafting is 100% a cat person, all right? No judgment, but you buy a hot glue gun, it comes with a kitten and a litter box. So that's the other reason I decided to not go with the cat. As I'm finishing this up, I think just did a quick edit. Now I decided to add a bunch of teeth to it. And I wanted really janky looking teeth in his jaw, so what I did, but I also wanted it to look like a wood texture. And instead of like sculpting teeth out of milliput or green stuff or whatever and adding the wood texture, I broke up some popsicle sticks and toothpicks, and they were very, very janky, and they were very perfect, so I'm using them. The popsicle sticks I got from Dollar General, which, by the way, everything's $1.25 now, not $1. I'm, not complaining, I guess. Well, I'm literally complaining, but yeah, just thought that was, all right, whatever. I guess I'll have to tighten that budget. I got the popsicle sticks. I got about 1,000 of them. No, I think it's like 100 for $1.25, and they're all dyed these weird colors. So it's kind of weird that the one thing you can't use these popsicle sticks for is popsicles, because if you eat it, with the dye, it's like your tongue will fall out or something. It's pretty gross. So I am going through with all the teeth, and I'm pretty happy just using regular green stuff and sticking them in there wherever. Yeah, so it's coming along here. Later on, we'll add an outer lip to it. I'll add like a nose, and I'll add everything else to the face. But this is I just wanted to sort of like stick these all in place and get them to where I want them to be. I did record pretty much every bit of the process like this, but again, I'm not going to do the whole process. I feel like it's kind of silly. I literally recorded all of it. I recorded me making it, me sculpting it, me changing it, me crying myself to sleep at night. It's a whole thing. So yeah, I think if I did one thing different, I would have liked to have made the whole, like the mouth. I probably should have sculpted the inside of the mouth first, but I didn't. So what can you do? Yeah, finishing up the teeth here. I think I have a couple left, and yeah, then I'll show you what the update looks like in a second. All right, I dubbed over the original audio and doubled the speed because I sounded like I just inhaled a carton of Marlboros and had mesothelioma breath. So, yeah, basically I covered everything. At this point, I covered everything in either green stuff or milliput or a combination of green stuff and milliput, green put, if you will, or if you won't. If you won't, I don't know. If you will, you won't, whatever. Also, I'm showing off the. I don't know. I'm just touching it a lot. It looks like here are the two hands that I was talking about. There's one with like the fingers crossed, although it does look a little bit like a peace sign, which is kind of not really what I was going for. But anyway, more on that later. And then in the back, I have two legs where I thought I would have it, the feet facing away, so it'd be like look like someone laying down. But then I looked at it. There are a couple more issues, still smoothing it away and still plugging at it. Hey, so I did some work there. I finished the eyes, as you can probably tell. I did add a little membrane there to the side. And then the legs I was working on today, and then I put a little bit right on in the center. No, why, God, Jesus, oh, sweet Jesus, oh, take me instead, take me, why, my beautiful child, what happened to you? No! Oh, right, I meant to do that, yeah. So, look, I like the legs, I like the feet, I like the hands. I just don't like them on this model. I think as an anglerfish model, I think it works better. I think, yeah, so what I've decided instead, I'm going to put little fins on like there. I'm gonna just, and then on the back, I'm gonna make these little flipper things for feet, like just sort of like coming out around, oh, there or so, just like on the ground. So that's what I'm doing. So that yeah, look, I mean, I love these. I think they're great. I think it's perfect. Like if you lay them out like this, it already has the makings of a troll, right? I mean, it's already there. So I don't know. I'm sure I'll find a use for these. For now, they go in the bin box. But yes, it's kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. I also started to make some spikes for the back, but I think I made them a little too long, so I'm gonna make some shorter ones out of milliput, and then put those on for like the dorsal fin there, ventral fin. I don't know which one's. Anyway, yeah, I think it's dorsal. I don't know. Anyway, so that's where I'm at, and I will see you in a sec. Here she is. It's day 13, night 13. And finally ready for a primer. Not finally, I think I've been covering good time. I love the profile so far. I love the silhouette that she's making. I added a couple little knobby bits there. Tacked on all the fins, so now she has her 6 legs. Yeah, I'm gonna add a couple little things. The apples pretty much gonna right like that. Yeah, and then so I'm going to prime her tonight, and we'll see what happens. Priming is one of those things. It's like, it's good and bad. It means I'm making progress. It also means like the primer's going to show every tiny little flaw in the sculpt that I'll have to either address or find a way to hide with the paint job. But that's just part of the process, and I'm okay with that. Well, I'm not, but I'm convincing myself that I'm okay with that because I'm trying to be positive, I guess, that self-help book's really working. Yeah, so anyway, I'm gonna be doing that tonight, and hopefully there won't be too much. I'll also, while I'm spray painting, just because I love inhaling fumes, I'll also base coat the bottom, the base for it, and we'll go from there. So, back in a jiff. Yeah, oh boy. All right. So look, I am not an expert on apple trees. Okay, this is not Miss Johnny Appleseed's Bits channel. Okay, I'm not Mrs. Johnny Apple. If I were, I'd be like, Johnny, stop with this pipe dream of spreading apples all over the place and get a real job. The kids are hungry. One of them died of cholera. Look, anyway, I looked up, I know a few apple trees. I grew up upstate. I've seen them. And one of the colors, like there was like a little bit of like almost like a purplish thing. So I looked at a picture. I used the color dropper on Photoshop. This is what it looked like. And then I painted it, and now he looks like Grimace. And I'm not, sorry, she. Look, I'm not completely done. Don't think I ruined it. I mean, worst case scenario, I just go buy a spray can of brown primer and redo it. But this is where I'm at. So now I'm gonna try and do a couple different shade paints on it. I'm gonna do some browns, some blacks. I'm gonna dry brush it a little bit, and we're gonna keep going. So that's where it's at. I'm not throwing in the towel, but yeah, not the color I expected. All right, there's a bodega cat, just to change the topic. See, I don't hate cats. My monster's not going to eat a cat, all right? Um, yeah, I named him health code violation. It was in a bodega running away from me. So here I'm mixing Elmer's glue with paint and water and toilet paper. Yeah, it makes this like almost like a paper mache kind of like cool little thing. And I thought I would use this to make lichen on the branches. And it worked out pretty well. Here I am grabbing the toilet paper. I literally moved my desk to the bathroom now. I just do work on the toilet. So I'm right in the crapper when I'm doing this. And no, that's not true. That's not true. Yeah, but it makes it's like I don't even know how to describe it, but it's like a paste, and it went on very much like lichen. You can dab at it. It does shrink a little bit. And I did have to go back and add a little bit of like gray to the color to make it look more like that, the kind of lichen I was thinking of that grows on trees. It came out pretty good though. Here I am patting it on. Eventually, I don't know, with some sculpting tools, and it really molded pretty well, and it was a pretty good technique. I think I can't remember where I got it. I think it was called Old World Gaming. It's someone who plays Old World, and he made a couple of templates with that. Yeah, which was really neat. But it worked out. It's something I had never done before. So I didn't hate myself afterwards. I hated myself for saying I'm liking the lichen. Yeah, about the fourth time, but it's good. I'll have something to talk about in therapy. I did put a lot of it on, maybe too much, but I mean, you know what? I'm happy with it. So it works pretty well. I did have to go over it and highlight little pieces, and because when it dried a little bit flat. But yeah, I think it worked. May have overdone it a little bit. Not going to lie about that. I definitely may have went overboard. Found a new technique, and I thought, hey, let's use it more than yeah. Anyway, so next step, I decided I'm gonna give him little reptile eyes, which given the fact that one of the cards was reptile skin, I think that covers it, right? But also I have another little thing I'm gonna add to it. I might still add moss. I'm starting to wonder if going so overboard with the lichen that it would be a bad idea, but we'll see. Okay, so here's what got done. I put her on the base, painted the pupils, painted the apple, which I'm pretty darn proud of it. I don't say I nailed it very often, but I nailed it. I say I nailed it all the time. I also added texture paint to the base. It was not, all right, it's my first attempt making it myself. Texture-wise, it came out great, but color-wise, so here's what I did. The store I went to didn't have wood putty, so I used cheap acrylic paint, and I used something called gesso. I don't know, it's around here somewhere. And it kind of worked, and of course sand, and it kind of worked. I didn't know there was going to be so much pigment in gesso, I should have seen that, but yeah, so it lightened up the brown a lot, but that's fine. I was going to paint over it anyway. And then at the end, I always like, whenever I have leftover like pieces of something, I always like cut it into little tiny bits and then just add it to things for like rocks and stuff like that. So that's what I did. Like, yeah, anytime I have a sprue or something, if I want to, I could just like cut off a little piece in that. It did shrink a little bit, so I'll probably have to add to the corners there. And the other problem with gesso is that it really took a long time to dry, which I was not expecting that. Yeah, so I'll probably try it with Mod Podge or putty next time. But yeah, so that's coming along. I have a couple side things that I'm going to add to the diorama that will make it, and I also have to add all the foliage from the foliage pack that I have. So yeah, next update, it will be the finished product. Can't wait. All right, so I drew a seventh card, and this is what I got. And yeah, so I decided to use a seventh card. Well, he's food. He's gonna be food. Uh, but you know, it's not a cat because I'm not a monster. This, however, is a monster, and here's what it looks like all together. And one of the things I added were reptile eggs because I decided if it's gonna be a reptile, the creepiest thing on the planet are reptile eggs, especially one hatching. Yeah, but then I realized like the other day when I was looking at the cards again, that might not have been reptile skin. It might have been fishnets, and I could have made like a really cool six-legged alien sex worker from a 1980s sci-fi movie. Yeah, but oh well, another time. And besides, I think you can only buy so many Barbie dolls from Dollar General before they think you're really weird as an adult. So here's the finished project. I have to say, I had so much fun doing this, and I just want to thank everyone who put this all together. I know Conjured Crafts. I know I found your website. Thank you so much. And I'm following all of you guys, either this channel or my alternate channel. But if I'm not, just give me a knock and say, hey, stupid, follow me, and I will. Can't wait to see what you guys come up with, and thanks again.